You're at the airport. The person sitting next to you on your flight paid $189 for their seat. You paid $612. Same flight, same plane, same destination, 3 times the price. And here's the strangest part. The airline knew almost to the dollar what each of you would pay before either of you ever opened the booking page. There's a system running quietly behind every airline ticket sale. It has a name. It's called yield management. And it's the reason a single airplane can have 30 different prices on it at the same moment, sometimes for the exact same seat. In the next 12 minutes, you're going to see exactly how that system works. And by the end, you'll know the 5 specific things that genuinely move the price, and the popular tricks that don't do anything at all. Most people think airline pricing is random. You open the website, the price is high, you wait a week, the price changes, and you assume someone behind the scenes is just guessing. That's not what's happening. Airline pricing is one of the most precisely engineered systems in the entire economy. More precise than how Amazon prices products. More dynamic than how Uber prices rides. The big airlines have entire teams of analysts whose only job is to figure out every single hour the exact price each remaining seat on each remaining flight should be sold for. The reason they go this hard on pricing comes down to one brutal piece of math. Once an airplane pushes back from the gate, every empty seat is worth exactly $0. Forever. There's no warehouse to store it. There's no second chance to sell it. The product literally vanishes. So airlines aren't just pricing tickets, they're racing against a clock. And to win that race, they've built a system that does something most people would find unsettling if they thought about it too long. The system isn't trying to figure out what your flight is worth. It's trying to figure out what you specifically are willing to pay for it. The good news is, once you understand how the system thinks, you can play it, just not in the ways most people have been told. Here's the first thing that's not obvious. When you look at a plane and see, let's say, 180 seats, you're seeing a plane. The airline isn't. The airline sees roughly 20 separate inventories stacked on top of each other. These are called fare buckets. Each bucket holds a limited number of seats, and each bucket has its own price. The cheapest bucket might hold only 8 seats. The next bucket up holds 15. The next 20. The most expensive buckets near the top might never get sold at all, but that's fine, because the airline doesn't care about selling every bucket. It only cares about maximizing the total revenue from the plane. So when you go online and the price is $189, what actually happened is the cheapest open bucket had a seat available, and the airline let you buy it. Wait 3 days. Try again. The price is now $245. That doesn't mean someone raised the price. It means the cheap bucket sold out, and now the system is offering you a seat from the next bucket up. This is why the price seems to jump in steps rather than slide smoothly. You're not watching one price change. You're watching the airline move you from one inventory shelf to the next. Each airline labels these buckets with single letters Y, B, M, K, Q, V, L. If you've ever looked carefully at your boarding pass and seen a random letter next to your seat, that's your fare class. That single letter tells the entire industry exactly which bucket your ticket came out of, and the buckets aren't arbitrary. They map directly to who the airline thinks you are. This is where the system gets personal. The cheap buckets are designed for leisure travelers, people who plan ahead, people with flexible dates, people who would absolutely not pay $612 but would pay $189. The expensive buckets are designed for business travelers, people who book 3 days before the flight, people with rigid schedules, people whose company is paying, people who would never wait for a sale because the meeting on Tuesday isn't moving. The airline doesn't need to ask which one you are. The way you shop tells it everything. Booking 60 days out, probably leisure. Booking 4 days out, probably business. Booking for a Saturday return, probably leisure. Booking Monday morning, returning Friday afternoon, definitely business. The system reads these signals automatically. It's not surveilling you personally. It's just sorting your behavior into patterns it's seen billions of times before. And once it sorts you, the right bucket opens. A leisure traveler searching 90 days ahead sees the cheap buckets because the airline knows that if they don't offer a low price, that customer will simply not fly, they'll drive, or stay home. A business traveler searching 3 days ahead sees the expensive buckets because the airline knows that customer is going regardless. The seat will sell at almost any price. This is why 2 people on the same flight can pay wildly different prices, and the airline considers both transactions a win. Each ticket captured a customer at almost exactly what that customer was willing to pay. Economists have a name for this. They call it price discrimination, and in most industries, it's considered slightly impolite. In aviation, it's the entire business model. So here's where it gets useful for you, because once you understand the system, you can see exactly where the gaps are. The system is built around the average traveler. If you don't behave like the average traveler, you slip through the cracks the algorithm wasn't designed to catch. These are the 5 things that actually work. Each one exploits a real weakness in how the system sorts people. None of them are book on Tuesday at 3 a.m. Number 1, book inside the sweet spot window. This is the most important one. Airlines start releasing seats roughly 11 months before departure, but the cheap buckets don't really open until the algorithm has enough data to predict demand. For domestic flights, that sweet spot is roughly 30 to 45 days before takeoff. For international flights, it's 2 to 4 months out. Booking earlier than that, you're often paying premium prices for buckets the system released too cautiously. Booking later than that, the cheap buckets have closed. Number 2, fly on the right day. In 2026, the cheapest day to fly domestically isn't Tuesday or Wednesday anymore, it's Friday. The shift happened quietly over the last few years. Business travel collapsed on Friday afternoons after remote work changed who flies. The algorithm responded by opening cheaper buckets on Fridays to fill seats. A Friday departure can run almost 20% cheaper than a Sunday departure on the same route. Number 3, avoid the business traveler pattern. The system pegs you as a business traveler by your shape. Monday to Friday. One-way bookings close to departure. Hub city to hub city. Anytime you can break that shape, you fall into the leisure bucket. Add a Saturday night in your trip. Fly from a smaller secondary airport. Book a round trip even if you only need one direction. The airline reads your itinerary as casual and the cheaper buckets open up. Number 4, stack airports. The system prices each route independently. A flight from a major hub to a major hub is priced for business demand. A flight from a small regional airport to the same destination is priced for leisure demand. The same trip can cost dramatically different amounts depending on which airport pair you use. The fastest way to find this gap is to search everywhere on a flight aggregator and compare the alternate airports within driving distance of your origin or destination. Number 5, use a price monitoring tool, not a calendar. Stop trying to guess when prices will drop. The system updates over 100 times a day on busy routes. No human can track that. Tools like Google Flights, Hopper, and Going monitor entire routes around the clock and alert you when fares cross a meaningful threshold. The viewers who use these tools consistently report saving 30 to 40% on flights. Not because they're smarter, but because they're letting software watch the algorithm move and pounce when it slips. Now the things that don't work. Booking on a Tuesday at 3 a.m.? Myth. The Tuesday is cheapest idea is a leftover from the 1990s, when airlines updated fares once a week on Tuesday mornings. They haven't done that in over a decade. Today, prices update continuously. Using incognito mode or clearing cookies? Mostly a myth. Airlines don't raise prices based on your browser history in any reliable way. The price changes you see between searches are almost always the algorithm responding to actual seat availability, not punishing you for looking. Waiting until the last minute for a deal? Almost always wrong. Last minute prices are designed for business travelers who pay the most. The cheap buckets are long gone by then. Once you see how the system works, a few things click into place. You understand why the cheap fare you saw on Monday is gone on Friday, the bucket closed. You understand why business travelers pay so much. They're not being punished, they're being correctly identified. You understand why airlines bundle and unbundle so aggressively. Basic economy, regular economy, premium economy, business, first. Those aren't 5 different products. They're 5 different ways of asking, what kind of customer are you and how much will you pay? And you understand why the real strategies work. They don't beat the system. They just keep you from being mistaken for the customer the system is designed to charge the most. Most of the systems running your life work exactly like this. Not random, not personal, just precisely tuned, watching everything, sorting you into categories you don't realize you're in. I'll be breaking down a different one each week. If you want them in your inbox before the videos come out, the newsletter link is in the description. Next time, we're looking at how the apps on your phone, the ones that cost you nothing, quietly make billions of dollars. You don't pay for them, but somebody's paying for you.